have SNSD Genie in my head of all songs. I'm Genie for you, boy. So on there, hello everyone, it's Kendall here. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're not new around here, what is up, home? Skillet biscuit. So your girl was on Twitter, as you do. I was talking about all of these random like Netflix documentaries that I was watching over the holiday and towards the beginning of the year, and I realized, girl, this just needs to be a get ready with me because I'm overwhelmed with feels and thoughts and emotions. Oh, also check my wig. What wig? I FaceTime my friend and he was like, is that you? I'm like, it's mine. Yes, it's a new wig that kind of looks like all my other ones, but a little bit better. But if you're curious, there's a link down in the description box. Not sponsored. Not sponsored. Is that the song I'm gonna do every time I get a new wig? I think so. I think I'm okay with that. If you're new around here, you may not know, but I'm really into like true crime. It's so fascinating to me. Like, the human mind is a terrifying place, right? I feel like Netflix is the smorgasbord. It is the mecca of just getting too involved with like true crime stories and murder mysteries and stuff. The one that really, like, I think got a lot of people's attention, or at least in my neck of the woods, a lot of people's attention, was Don't F With Cats. It's a true crime documentary. It's a 3-part series. It's so... I don't want to say entertaining because that's insensitive to the context, but good God. Literally everything I want to say sounds incredibly insensitive. I want to say it had me hooked, and that's like, it's not like someone died. I recommend watching it. It was very interesting. I feel like that's a very neutral word, right? It was very interesting. I'm gonna warn you right now, I'm gonna spoil a lot of things. With that said, the reason why I really needed to do this is because after I watched this, I needed somebody to talk to. The time is 2010. In 2010, there was a video uploaded to Facebook of a guy who was murdering cats. And there was this big outrage and everybody was like, oh my God, this horrible monster. You know, who the hell does that? There ended up being like a group of kind of vigilante sleuths, computer nerds that all got together and decided that they wanted to locate this guy that was killing cats. People are very passionate about like pet animals in particular. So it's like, oh, this is awful. But two, as you guys most likely know, there's a very popular theory that if you kill small animals, you're probably going to graduate, so to speak, onto humans. So they wanted to catch this guy. They were intense, yo. It was actually kind of frightening. They were doing it for a good cause, so to speak, but the problem is, it's like they were doing everything to figure out the location of this guy. Very intelligent, but also very terrifying. They would like look at the outlets in the video to see like what country has those particular outlets, the vacuum cleaner in the room, and that vacuum cleaner is only sold in North America. I don't want to tell you all the ways because it's actually, again, very frighteningly fascinating, but like they were in essence stalking this guy, but for justice. Eventually they end up having this like cat and mouse thing with the cat killer. His name was Luca Magnotta. Luca Magnotta wanted to be famous, and this was like a big thing. He was the first person to tell people that the person you're looking for is Luca Magnotta, and it becomes this like super, I'm not gonna lie, very fascinating cat and mouse story of trying to find this guy. Luca Magnotta is this super duper narcissistic, and before he started making videos killing cats, he was trying to get famous. He was trying to align himself with famous crowds. He made hundreds of fake accounts that are supposed to be his fan accounts. Who the hell has time? Who has time, sis? He would make up fake rumors just so that he could address them in the press. It was just so weird. So fast forward, I guess all those attempts of trying to be famous otherwise haven't really worked. And so he started killing cats and putting it on the internet so that it would garner a reaction, and that's what it did. Fast forward some months and no one had really found him. And so he started doing more videos, and now the chase was on again because people had kind of like not gotten over it, but he's kind of like, we haven't found him. I don't think we're gonna find him. Morale's kind of down. And then he starts making more videos killing more cats. Every time they're close to him, he gets away. Every time they think they got him, he gets away. There's like the pressure on to catch him because they feel like this person is super narcissistic and will do anything for attention, that at some point he's going to, again, kill an actual person. So they're trying to warn police in the general area where they think he was. He was in Canada. And they're trying to, you know, warn the police officers in that area that there's this guy. Lo and behold, exactly what they thought was going to happen happened. And he ended up killing a guy. Oh, so awful. He recorded it. And then a ragtag team that's been trying to catch him for several months at this point, it actually happened. This part is one of the big criticisms, though, that I have about, I don't want to say about the documentary itself, because it's a documentary, you're interviewing people and this is how they reacted. But in the video where he killed the guy, he also killed a puppy, and it kind of felt like they kind of put the guy that he killed on the back burner. It was kind of like, yeah, we're sad about that, but like, what about the puppy? And I was just sitting there like, what the hell is wrong with y'all? And now this is like, it's a homicide now. It's like, oh, it's not pets anymore, he's killing people. And now, so this ragtag team of people who have been trying to catch him for several months now have all this information that they can send over to the place that they honed in where he was. But before they can catch him, right, I'm literally just sitting here talking about don't F with cats, but just like, is this whole video gonna be this? I don't know. Maybe. I saw other things too, but we'll see. They hone in on the new city he is, because he's been moving around trying to avoid getting caught. He ends up sending the hands of the deceased person to like the Republicans of Canada, like the Conservative Party of Canada, and then the feet he sent to the Democrats, or vice versa. He sent some body parts to like party members, or whatever the equivalent is in Canada. And now there's like a manhunt for this dude because they found a body. Now the hands are being sent to like government offices. In some of these films where he was like murdering cats and murdering a guy, he would put little clues on where he was going to end up next, because he was big into movies. So he liked the idea of like being the star of his own movie, so to speak, where he's leading the police and officials on a chase, on a rat race. Gave a clue that he was going to be going to Paris. He did end up going to Paris, but there wasn't a whole lot of luck there. But he ended up going to Berlin. How he got across international lines after being accused of sending hands and feet to government officials, I don't know. I would hope he did not fly. I would hope it was not that easy for him to just fly to Berlin. I would hope he took land travel. M Cosmetics is like on it. I don't like, every product I've ever tried from them have been so good that it makes me angry. He's in Berlin. He stops by this internet cafe, and the owner said that he would read the newspaper basically every day. And he had saw that some guy who was accused of sending body parts to the embassy or something in Canada, Parliament in Canada. I really need to become more educated on different. Wow, I went to college for international economics, politics, and development. Doesn't show. I didn't do Western politics. Anyway, he sees this thing where this guy is being accused of sending body parts and had fled to Europe and was last seen in Paris. And then the next thing you know, the guy is right in front of him. Luca Magnotta had come into his internet shop to use the internet really quickly, and he was like, is that the guy? I think this is the guy. You can see like there's a CCTV camera where he's like looking at his newspaper on the computer and looking at the guy and looking at his newspaper and looking at the guy, and he's like, okay. So he lets him use the internet, and he's like, I want to double check that that's the guy that I think it is. He sees him looking at his own most wanted photo because he's a complete and utter narcissist. And he's like, oh my God, that is the guy. That really is him. So they call the police. They come in with like 80 billion police officers. And that's the gist of the story. I'm not going to tell you everything that happened in it if you want to watch it, because I'm not going to ruin everything. Also, we don't have time because there's a lot of twists and turns, baby. I don't want to call it twists and turns, because it is like, it's a real story and a guy died. And that's one of the biggest complaints I feel like I have, and a lot of people have had about it, is that it seems like the man, the human being that lost his life, is being like overshadowed by the death of cats and a dog. It's awful, but a whole ass human died. And like, they're going this hard to find a cat killer, but they wouldn't go that hard to say find a human that's missing. That and one other thing really pissed me off about watching the documentary. The very last episode, like the very last scene, I guess is what you could call it, or one of the main chicks that was trying to find him, she kind of turns to the camera and she's like, "You're also to blame," type thing. Like, he wanted to be famous and y'all made him famous. Look, you're watching a whole documentary about him. I'm like, hold up, body moving. First of all, I ain't never heard of this dude until this documentary. And who the hell does that? They do a documentary and they're like, by the way, thanks for watching, you. So yeah, I watched that and I was just wildin'. Again, I don't want to call it good, but if you can stomach it, I would recommend watching it. It was very fascinating. Okay, and then after that, I decided to watch the documentary about the guy that made the like hot yoga. Is that how you pronounce it? Bikram yoga? Bikram? That sounds right. If you don't know what Bikram yoga is, it's like the hot yoga where you get in the room. The room is like 100 degrees and you're doing yoga. The guy, Bikram, there's a whole documentary about him being a rapist. Sorry, it's just like, wow, all that enlightenment, eh? I guess his training for his yoga instructors, they would have to go on this like retreat that looked mad culty. And he's like the guy that people look up to, the sensei, the teacher, whatever. Pretty much proven that he abused that power and ended up being incredibly inappropriate with a lot of his female instructors. And so the documentary was kind of talking about the culture around being in his, I guess, his workshops. But the thing is, if you want to watch a crime documentary where someone gets what they deserve, don't watch that one, because basically he was charged, and instead of serving time or like paying any damages to the women that he abused, he just fled. I think he went back to India. But yeah, they was like showing the kind of like environment of his like classes and stuff, and I'm like, hold up. Even if he wasn't a rapist, I would have still had to be his ass, cause like his style that they were like, oh my god, I love him for it so much. He's just so honest and so raw. He was just calling people like fat bitches and stuff. Like if someone was in a stretch and they felt like they couldn't do it, he would just like yell at them and then call them a bitch and like stuff like that at the end, and they're like, oh, he's so funny. I'm like, he's not funny, he's an asshole. And then not too long after that, the second season of You came out. I remember, I believe when the first season came out, I kind of talked about it a bit on the channel and like a Get Ready With Me, because I really liked the first season. It was kind of corny and kind of actually no, it wasn't super predictable. If you don't know what You is about, well, at least the first season was about this guy named Joe who was awful. Stalked this girl because in his head they were meant to be together. He ends up like implementing himself into her life, and they actually end up dating, and you know, but he ends up doing a lot of really messed up stuff. Don't want to ruin the first season for you, but he kills people. Well, I guess I am about to ruin the first season for you. Basically, the first girlfriend, the first girl that he was like super obsessed with, at least in the first season, he kills her, and now he moved to a new city. He was in New York before. He moves into a new city this season. He goes to LA and he kind of starts all over again. But the thing is, this season was high-key dumb, and I was so disappointed because I was only like an episode or two in, and I was like, did they get different writers? Because this season high-key stupid. Is it gonna get better? Because it's kind of a yikes right now. It was just so cartoonishly stupid. I go on Twitter, everybody's like, just wait it out. Like, it gets so much better. I watched that entire season and was like, this was garbage, like I thought. Just as I expected. Trash. There's a twist. I'm not gonna ruin the twist, even though to me it was no twist. But like, I saw it coming literally in maybe the first 2 episodes. I was like, oh, I know what this is gonna be. And I was right. And I was like, oh, that's so sad, because at least the first season kept me wondering, this is for Rachel. Sorry. That's all for today, folks. I hope you had fun chilling with me. If you've seen any of the things that I talked about, I really want to discuss them. Like, there's so much to unpack. It was wild. If you like this video, don't forget to like this video. Follow me on all my social media, Instagram and Twitter, both of which are KennieJD. And I'll see you guys next time, next Saturday, for Bad Movies and a Beat.